This is Unburied.
Why is your right to blame keeping you buried? You know what's crazy about being a parent that's buried? We'll do anything for our kids. We'll sacrifice sleep, money, our bodies, our time, everything. But there's one thing most of us refuse to give up, and that is our right to blame somebody else for the problem. Your ex, your parents, your spouse, that business partner that screwed you over. That blame is burying you alive. I see this all the time with parents I work with. Heck, I saw this with myself. They're successful, they're making money, they're doing everything right, but they're drowning. When we really get honest, it always comes back to the same thing. They're carrying a conversation they never had, a resentment they never released, a blame they're holding on to like it's their only source of power. And here's what I know: you cannot be present with your kids while you're rehearsing your case against someone else. In other words, you're over here, your little kids are down here, just want to spend time with you, and you are thinking about the guy or the gal that triggered you today, that ticked you off today. And that means that your kids, they get the version of you that's still prosecuting someone else who isn't even in the room. Now, I'm not saying what they did was okay. I'm not asking you to excuse it or pretend it didn't happen. But here's the kingdom truth most people miss. Forgiveness isn't about them. It's about you. When you refuse to forgive, you're the one who stays trapped. You're the one carrying the weight. You're the one literally dragging the boulder down the trail. The rope is in your hand. You're the one who can't move forward. You want to go, but this weight just gets heavier and heavier and heavier the longer you hang on to it. And your kids, they're watching. They're watching whether you're free or whether you're stuck. They're watching whether you lead with peace or resentment, whether you're present with them or still prosecuting someone else. And this is what I teach in the Same Page Method: how to have the conversation you've been avoiding so you can finally let it go. Because here's what I've learned: the conversation you're avoiding is the conversation your freedom is waiting for. If you want to go lay down on the couch and relax, do that. You don't need years of processing. Just letting the clock run and run and run and run and run. You need a framework to get you on the same page with yourself, then with the person you might be carrying a resentment towards. Because if you can't get on the same page with yourself, every conversation with your spouse turns into another trial. So let me ask you something. What would you change in your home if you stopped carrying the blame? What would your kids experience if you showed up fully present instead of half distracted by resentment? What would you open up in your life if you released your right to be right and chose freedom instead? The Same Page Method is designed for parents just like you, who are ready to stop performing and start being present. And no, you don't have to drag your spouse into it on day one. Because here's the truth: your kids don't need a perfect parent, they need a present one. And presence starts with letting go of what's keeping you buried. There's a link in the show notes. Let's get you on the same page with yourself, because your freedom with your spouse and your kids depends on it. I'm Samuel J. Sneed, and this is Unburied. Stop performing and start being present today.